also we have paid contractors. I want to say that the complaints of no money and no money and no money, we don't hear that anymore because we have paid and paid contractors. As of now, year to date, I think we've spent some 49 billion Ghana cedis. Same time last year, we did 41 billion Ghana cedis. And so this demonstrates that a lot of liquidity, cedi liquidity, is in the market. And we have seen some people looking for US dollars to buy with the cedis that we have put out there. And so these are some of the reasons, including the payments to IPPs. You will recall that we started negotiating with them, as a result of which we had to make a bullet payment, one-off payment, amounting to some 400 million United States dollars. And so they all put pressure on the cedi. But also, what is known to all of us, the common reason is speculation. So much speculation out there. And we need people to know that this speculation is not helping us. It's not helping the economy.
Well, the finance minister further says the government is not idling. He revealed that government is implementing measures to halt the depreciation of the cedi.
The Ministry of Finance will continue to work with the Bank of Ghana to implement measures to address the rapid depreciation of the cedi. And some of the measures that we have already put in place, and I was told this morning that we are already seeing the results of the effect of these policies and measures we have put in place. So we are fast-tracking the fiscal consolidation process through rationalizing spending and enhancing revenue mobilization, intensification of the Gold for Oil program, and appropriate FX interventions by the Bank of Ghana. We are also intensifying, through the Bank of Ghana, the Gold for the Reserve program. The disbursement of the third tranche under the IMF program, which we are expecting in June, is also going to support the building of foreign exchange reserves, and also disbursement from other ongoing projects, including the $150 million World Bank facility, which Parliament approved last week, Friday, will all come in to support the reserves. We're also expecting the disbursement of 300 million United States dollars under the World Bank Development Policy Operation 2, possibly in the third quarter of this year, and disbursement of $200 million to Ghana Exim Bank and Ghana Commercial Bank, GCB, by EBIT, ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, later in the year. And, of course, again, what is known to us, the expected 2024-2025 cocoa syndication proceeds in the fourth quarter of this year. They will all crystallize and come together to support the build-up of the reserves in order to strengthen the cedi as well as support the budget in the implementation. And so, ladies and gentlemen, in all, we're expecting total disbursements of $2.32 billion US dollars before the end of the year, to add to the significant foreign exchange reserves already built up by the Bank of Ghana. And on this basis, I wish to assure the Ghanaian people that there is enough foreign exchange supply in the market. Hence, there is no need to rush to buy forex. There is enough foreign exchange on the market, and we will continue to ensure that the supply is sustained, if not even increased.
So that's Ghana's finance minister, there, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam. But when he was speaking, he made mention of the fact that there's been some payment of 49 billion cedi to contractors, as well as the payment to IPPs. Let's speak to the Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry, Emmanuel Cherry. Mr. Cherry, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Now, you had the minister there. We want to find out, when was this 49 billion cedi payment made from government to you?
Thank you very much, my good brother, and then good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers across the entire country. We must thank the minister for coming out to such an expose, because if we should talk about construction industry, we have different aspects of construction. So, construction has different legs or segments. We have the hydro, how do you call it, the energy sector construction that goes with whatsoever is associated, projects and products. That's engineering aspect, the architectural aspect, the surveying aspect, before the physical aspect of construction. All those things lump together. Then it comes to the road sector, also same. Then it goes to the building sector. So, notably, within our sector, the most prominent one that normally surfaces is the building, and then that of the road. So, in the road and the building sector, if we should lump together the amount the minister has mentioned now, I don't know where exactly is getting the figures from. So, it's something that has at least hit us as a shock and a surprise. But as industry players, we are also bent on doing our further search into the books and to find out what exactly is the minister driving to. Because if it's about roads and then that of building, it's very outrageous for us to say that the minister of finance will come out and dangle these figures into the public space. He might have a basis to it, but
how much
for us to understand.
How much have you been given this year in terms of payment?
Yeah, for this year, in total, the amount the minister is quoting is nowhere near, because if minister claims that such an amount of money has been paid to the contractors, then why is contractors not on site? Why have they moved from site? Why are they not working? That is the question we need to ask ourselves. Because as we speak today, road sector, the road fund, government is owing contractors almost 6 billion Ghana cedis as we speak today. That's road fund, almost 6 billion as we speak today. The GOG, 5.something billion. Cocoa Board has paid some 1 billion last month, this month, and we are hoping that they will continue. So therefore, their portfolio also reduced a little bit. We are looking at barely 3.4 billion Ghana cedis in total. So, in fact, the debt portfolio you and I know that we'll be talking about is not up to that magnitude. So, which means there is another leg of construction work that the minister is trying to stick to that we don't know. But as being said, we need to interrogate the books properly and then come out with the accurate figures accordingly, because this is very outrageous to us.
Okay. I'm grateful to you, Mr. Emmanuel Cherry, for clarifying this particular matter, that you've not received any 49 billion cedis. But you're also not able to tell us how much exactly government has paid you, I mean, this year.
Hello?
Mr. Cherry?
Yes, sir.
So I wanted to find out from you how much the government, if it's not 49 billion, how much exactly has your members or have your members been paid?
With Cocoa Board has made 1 billion payments. Road fund, the amount in question as we speak today is less than 2 billion. What do you call it? GOG. With GOG, government has done a significant payment in there as well. So for that one, possibly we are looking up to approximately 4 billion thereabouts. If it comes to what do you call it? The GET fund. GET fund this year, I've not seen government making any payment as we speak, unless they have made some payment that without us knowing. But with the GET fund, the portfolio there was approximately 600 million. So therefore, putting that together is nowhere near the quotations that the minister is giving us. But however, it's early days yet, as you said, I'll be so much glad that we can continue this discussion possibly a day or possibly early next week so that
Okay.
we can give you accurate figures accordingly.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Cherry. Let me bring in Courage Boti, who is a currency analyst. Courage, I'm grateful for joining. You heard the minister there enumerate some of the reasons for the current performance of the city, which includes speculation. Now, do you agree that these ones, or what are the real factors leading to the depreciation of the city, which we normally do see in this country?
Well, good evening, and thanks for the opportunity. The minister sits behind numbers, get briefings from the Bank of Ghana, and so I have no reason to doubt what he's saying. Add that to the fact that there is nothing he said that is exactly news to the market in terms of the causes for depreciation of the cedi at this moment in time. Speculation is a big driver, no doubt. People don't just speculate. They speculate based on the signals they pick, right? We are in an election year. If you remember, on one breath, the minister is happy talking about fiscal consolidation and how that will play a role in currency stability and sustain disinflation. But on the other hand, he's saying that we are running a primary deficit of 0.6% of GDP at the end of first quarter, as opposed to 0.2% of GDP, and the fact that they are spending to take care of the poorer groups in society and all that, essentially to say the expenditure is ahead of target. And that is exactly the concern of people. Our history in election years have been one of a checkered one, where you see over expenditures leading to severe distortions in years after, and you have to spend time to correct.
But if they're
the
making...
general expectation is that we will keep things tight. And people's fears are crystallizing from even what he has said.
Well, Courage, but if the minister or the government is making payment to contractors, for example, then you expect that there will be enough liquidity in the system to help everyone. But is that what we see?
Well, the contractors are saying they've not received as much. So probably the evidence, depending on who is right, the evidence may be reflecting one side of the equation. I don't think it's a problem of liquidity. There is liquidity in the system. It is the fact that prices are high and people are uncertain, and you see where interest rates are, where people expect it to be. You see where dynamics are, and people just feel comfortable buying dollars and keep because it's just profitable, and that is what people are doing. So unlike previously where you could go to a bank and get maybe a fixed deposit, or you could go do some T-bill or some other mutual fund, all those sectors are affected through this DDP thing, and people want to take their own destinies into their hand. By the CR directive that was given, what trend you are seeing is that the intention was to stimulate loan growth from the banks, but NPLs are high. The operating environment is chilling, and banks do not want to add to that high NPL and even impact their capital position.
That's why we see what we see. But how much do you think speculation plays a role in the downfall of the city?
Their money's to dollars and all of that. So the speculation is a top driver of what we are seeing, and there has to be an intervention to tackle those underlying issues. Yes, you can cite all the sources of money we expect in the coming months, totaling 2 billion plus. But if you don't tackle the whole thing, which is sentiment, which is driving the behavior, I mean, you will bring in the dollars, but they'll be demanded through this frivolous demand, and we will be where we are.
Okay, so we need to check the speculation. Grateful to you, Courage. Let me bring in Professor Lord Mensah, who's Associate Professor of Finance, into this discussion. Prof, I'm grateful to you for joining us. Now, you've heard the Minister talk about how the cedi depreciation is being tackled. How do you think these measures the government is putting in place can help reverse the trend?
You see, good evening to our listeners. I'm afraid to say that those measures are not measures that can change the direction of the city. I mean, in a sense that they are interventional, measures. If you're expecting an IMF inflow, which will unlock, World Bank money and other, ancillary support, these are funds that will keep you afloat, to have that fiscal space to put in permanent measures that will change the direction of the city. You see, the minister was talking about speculation, and it was like, I mean, he's giving up on speculation, and he's warning Ghanaians, to stop the speculation. But what breeds speculation? Speculation comes about as a result of consistent uncertainty. When the economy, shows a sign of consistent uncertainty, individuals who are the economic agents put things on their own hands and then use their own discretion to determine which direction the currency will go based on the information they have. That is what we'll call speculation. Now, if you want speculation to reduce, then possibly you may have to take advantage of the fiscal space you're going to have from this IMF inflow and all the policies that you are laying now, including good for oil. These are all interventional policies. We need a permanent policy which will, look at production. Production in the short term, production in the long term. That is what will reverse the direction of the city. But whatever measures, whichever way, whether you are going to allow multinationals to keep their money here, those things won't solve our city problem. We need to make sure that we reduce our import, get import substitution, and you take crops that you can grow in the short term toward the long term. Then you will know that yes, indeed, your economy is producing to substitute what you're supposed to import, and as a result of that, you should be able to control your balance of payment. But for now, all those inflows are just interventions. They will come through the system, go to Bank of Ghana, be used as it's supposed to be, but the impact will not be felt. Well, but then that is just to give you the fiscal space. And that's the essence of the IMF program. The IMF program is not to solve our economic problem. It's just to give us, that kind of free space. And then out of this free space, we take advantage of it, put in measures to get production in the short term and the long term. Look, we started having these problems when we were priced out of the international market. Okay? Since we were priced out from the international market, our dollar inflows got reduced drastically. And then portfolio investors started taking their monies back to where they came from. And so that tells you that you cannot continue to rely on somebody's inflow to grow your economy, to manage your exchange rate. You need your own production, and that is what this country needs.
But now that the finance minister says our primary surplus, for example, is doing better, our public debt to GDP is also doing better, mustn't that inspire the sort of confidence required in the economy to reverse the trend we see with the city?
Your public debt is doing better because you've suspended your, international debt service, right? External debt service. You are still on negotiations. So whatever numbers we are recording now, especially the cedi depreciation, where he talks about 20% depreciation somewhere first quarter of last year, and therefore this year is 14% depreciation. So it's a signal of stability. Don't forget that very soon we'll start, paying our external debt. That is when we're going to see the full-scale demand of the dollar on our market. And that is where we'll find the actual level of the price of the dollar. So for now, whatever, percentages he's using to determine stability, I can tell you that they are just, temporal numbers. The actual numbers will kick in when we start servicing our external debt. And the speculators know, okay? And then also, those investors who are holding up the dollar also knows that at the point where you start servicing your debt, you will come on the market. Well, it's good. For a finance minister who is wearing, political hat and at the same time technical hat, it's good to give that assurance.
Okay.
But the assurance must reflect in the numbers. If it does not, the speculation will continue.
But aren't we seeing that in the numbers?
No, we're not.
Okay. Stay with me. Let me bring in Ken Thompson. He's director at Dalex Finance. And Ken, thank you for joining. Now, you've said somewhere that, I mean, the solution to this whole challenge is that we should dollarize the Ghanaian economy. Listening to the minister, do you still stand by that proposal that we should adopt the dollar?
I said we should. What I said was with respect to making sure that the Bank of Ghana doesn't finance the government under the guise that if they don't give the government money, it will collapse. But I'd like to say something about these proposals that have come out.
Okay.
They really are warm words and don't address the issues. And I think, from where I sit, it's more of a patch to get us past December than any long-term solution. Really, it's just under patching. I mean, we're talking about fast-tracking revenue mobilization and expense specialization. I mean, we've been talking about this for years, and our record is poor. Gold for Oil program, I'm not too sure about that. We're talking about 360 million and 150 million. Do you know how much the oil sector alone demands in dollars from this, the energy sector demands in dollars from this country every month? $400 million. So what are we talking about? I mean, we are not addressing the issues, and the issues respect to confidence in an economy. We haven't come to any agreement with our creditors. Inflation is high, interest rates are high, investor confidence is low, the infrastructure is weak, taxes are high, consumer confidence is low, and we're talking about fast-tracking revenue mobilization and rationalizing expenditure. I mean, come on. We are talking about 350 million and 150 million. Come on. Are we serious? These are warm words. They don't really address the issue. I mean, my issue with respect to the dollarization was to say that let's put the Bank of Ghana in a position that does not give it an opportunity to finance the government, and which results in inflation and depreciation. I mean, a lot of this inflation and depreciation we're seeing now, some of it comes from the 50 billion that the Bank of Ghana pumped into the economy in 2022. That's my point. But what I've read so far, these are just warm words. I mean, and I think we're trying to, hobble along, patch the issue to get past the 7th December, rather than any serious attempt to address the issues, the fundamental issues. They've not been touched at all.
But mustn't we start from somewhere? The economy, as we all know, is not in good shape. Mustn't we start from somewhere? Is the point where the finance minister has suggested not the appropriate way for us to start tackling the economy?
Okay, you got to start from somewhere. You don't start with warm words. You start with things that you're actually doing and that people can relate to. That's where you start from. You don't start with warm words. I mean, you don't do that. And, at this critical time, this is the time when really we should come out with things that people can relate to and see that address the issues. But these are just warm words. I mean, what do you expect that will achieve? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the same way I can see and read the economy, and I can see how things are going, the same way everybody else can see it. How does it address any of those issues I've talked about? Inflation, high taxes, low investor confidence, low consumer confidence. How are those issues addressed? That is what should be addressed. I'm not even going to talk about the issue of supply and demand of dollars, because, I mean, that's really, everybody knows it. That determines price. I mean, if you do a very basic analysis, you realize that we send out our exports, we have trade surpluses, but very little of the money that goes that we earn in dollars comes back to the country. That's not even been addressed. So, today is what's today? The 22nd May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. I mean, really. Let's start
today is 24th. But I mean, once government is trying to deal with the issues, it says that there are some inflows coming into the system that will stabilize the city. So, our primary surplus is coming up. Our debt to GDP is recovering. Aren't these the things that will give us or give the economy the sort of confidence that the players in the economy need to develop that confidence and start to keep the dollars here so that the economy can pick up?
Just so that maybe I said it in the wrong way. I just told you that our energy bill, the energy sector requires, just on a monthly basis, $400 million every month. Your debt to GDP ratio, really, you are not paying your debts now. So really, that's a number that really is neither here nor there. And I can guarantee that probably over 100% now. In any case, it doesn't mean anything. Debt to GDP ratio never meant anything. The most important number is the percentage of your income that you're using to repay your debts. That's the most important number. You take countries like Japan, they're over 100%, but the income that they use to pay their debts, the percent of their income, is less than 15%. I think Japan is even less than 10. Take America, it's about 15, less than 15. Take Ghana, I think the average is around 45, 46. And it probably is higher. At the moment, it's around 25 because you're not paying. And the amount doesn't even include your principal repayment. We need to start to speak to the reality so that now people can take informed decisions, and then we know how then to go and get out of this situation.
I mean, one of the ways government intended to check this, importation, which of course really does a lot of harm to our economy, was through the 1D1F. But the implementation we've all seen, the sort of challenges that have characterized it. How then does government move on from here? If we really want to tackle the basis of the issue, which everybody says it is just about ensuring that you don't take a lot of dollars away from your economy.
Who said that? That's not the issue. I mean, I'll give you another statistic. Over 70% of the containers, we have containers coming to this country. Over 70% of them go back empty. We export air. Once you start filling those containers, I can assure you, your currency will stabilize. So now you work back, and the things that we need to do to fill those containers. That is the issue. We export air. That's it. So fix those issues. And we talked about, 1D, 1F, 1 million, one constituency, PFJ, took loans. What are the cash flows if we had the cash flows to pay all those loans, by now we probably wouldn't be anywhere near where we are now. So let's, everybody can see through it. Let's go down to basics, start filling those containers, then your currency will strengthen.
Very interesting, yeah. Professor Lodmensa, so, I mean, at this juncture where we are, what would you advise government to do to turn the tide for the city?
Well, the first thing the government to do, which is shown that it's incapable of doing, is take an axe to the cost. Cut your expenditure to the bone. You can't afford it, you can afford it. So you're in a 5-bedroom house with air conditioning. You've lost your job, and you still are borrowing to take your children to international schools. I mean, come on. It's that simple. Start. That's where it needs to start. Then we can think about the rest. Then we can think about filling those containers. But you can't. It's just enough of the warm words. These are just warm words. It's a patch to get us past 7 December, and no real attempt to address the issues. That's all it is. That's what I see.
I feel a lot of you are done, as in you don't trust that anything can change again, right? Am I right to have that feeling from you?
When you say anything can change, well, I believe that the issues are clear. I believe that at least for me personally, I'll talk about them until somebody hears, and a lot of people are listening. A lot of people hear. A lot of people know what the right thing is to do, and we've got to keep talking until the right thing is done. But we are not going to allow the wool to be pulled over our eyes. We're not going to allow that. We are adults. I mean, the dollar's been, all this has been going on for the last couple of months or so. And then today somebody comes out with a statement about fast-tracking revenue mobilization and expense rationalization. Talks about bringing in 50 million and 150 million. Talks about go for, I mean, come on. I mean, are we serious? Are we serious? I mean, your father has lost his job. you are sitting at a table without any food, and then it tells you that, well, don't worry, food is coming because next week has been promised a sack of corn. Are we serious? Are we really serious?
Well, let me bring in Professor Lord Mason here. Prof, so, I mean, it looks like there are more things that government should do. What do you expect government to start doing now if they really want to tackle the real challenges of the economy?
Well, you see, the problem in this country has to do with price of, essentials, prices of essentials on our market, food, okay, tariffs, and all those things. Those are things that are wiping out household income. So if you keep on, throwing out macroeconomic numbers, improving. Now, since when did we started, using macroeconomic indicators as a gauge of individuals' pocket? You will come to understand that since 2017, 2018, 2019, we've been seeing all these macro indicators improving, going up and down as it's expected. But the question is, has it reflected in our lives? I mean, it has taken too long. So for a government, if you want to spend, your fiscal policy is supposed to target those essentials. And I was happy when he mentioned, SME champions. And I hope it's not going to be the usual, doling out of money by, the government, where money gets into political hands without production. We have to be careful. From where I sit, that policy should be channeled through the corridors of the banks. Some of these banks are specialized in SMEs. In fact, the banks themselves give the SMEs training here and there. Government shouldn't own that policy. And the banks will be able to channel the funds into areas that will grow the economy, areas that will put money into people's pockets. So I think, we have all the things on paper, but the implementation is the problem.
Okay. Prof, I'm grateful to you for joining. Professor Lord Mensah is Associate Professor of Finance, and I was also joined by Ken Thompson, Director of Dalex Finance. Thanks. Up next is Ghana Connect.
We are continuing the conversation on the Cedi exchange rate and all these issues that continue to plague the Ghana Cedi. The depreciation has been quite steep. The last 2 weeks when Guta and others spoke about the Cedi was around 14 cities. Mm-hmm. Now we are nearing 16 Ghana cities. And so it's a big conversation that today we are trying to connect with low-level business people.
Yeah.
I mean, a young lady, a young man importing from the UK, US, and
even
China, Nigeria, wherever you get some small goods from to come and sell. And the economy is in such a situation. How are you coping? And so for those of you listening, we are ready to listen to your story. We want to make today's show about you. Want to know how exactly you are faring with the Cedi exchange rate issues. Are you a business person? Please send us a message to WhatsApp 055 1111997 055 1111997. Please send us a message. We'll reach out to you. For some, we might even call you on the show so that we can just get an idea of how you are coping on this. So, Brace, thank you for